Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my #1 Sentai Gozyuger episode commentary and reviews. This time it's episode 17, Shine Brightly, #1 Sports Day. And if you do enjoy what you see, please remember to like and subscribe. It does mean a lot on a small channel like this. And just quickly, apologies for this video being a little bit later than usual. I've spent all day trying to find an English subbed copy. And literally, like, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I finally found one. So, unfortunately, not leaving me much time to get it out today. So, hopefully, I'll be working on it this evening, before work tomorrow, and after work to try and get this out tomorrow. Or now, because you're already watching it. Whatever, let's get into the episode. So, the episode opens with Samino showing Herrera that she's got a new ring, the No.1 one, as Kinjiro turns around saying he's got a new one as well, which turns out to be Kira Major. But Ryuji tells them that all the rings are blessings from Lord Tagersword, as they put their rings into their cases. But looking round, Herrera sees the landlord's kid coming down the stairs looking kind of miserable, not even reacting when Herrera pulls faces at him. Herrera asks the mum, like, what the matter with him is, and it turns out it's field day. But he's not a fan of exercise, so he's not really happy over it. Not to mention, there's some rumours going around that there's someone turning up to the school's field days and messing them all up, and they're calling him the Field Day Crasher. Out in the park, the kid's gone and sat on a bench watching some people running on a track, as Kamade is walking past with his floating bear. When he sees the kid, he wanders over, and when the kid asks him who he is, he introduces himself as Godness Kamade, and almost a god. And the kid says, you know, if you're God, can you cancel my field day? Turns out he's a slow runner and hates doing it in front of everyone. As Kamade sits next to him and says, well, in that case, pray to me, and I will help you. As a No.1 monster approaches saying, did someone say field day? It turns out it's the Field Day Crasher people won't stop talking about, and he's able to change the surroundings to the playing field of a school. Not to mention, he also summons the rest of the Gozyugers, dressed in colour-appropriate tracksuits. And against the Gozyugers, they're going to have a Field Day battle, as we enter the credits. As the No.1 monster leads them in a pledge to follow the rules, Herrero's the only one to race forward and agree to following the rules. The kid, however, decides he's not doing any of it and goes and sits at a table. Some nets are set up on the top of some poles, and as Gogligo is the referee, they get their first battle to put balls in a basket. Both teams are trying to throw the balls in the bags, but the Britons start shooting their guns. And as Samino calls to the ref saying this has got to be against the rules, turns out the ref's taking 5 and reading a magazine. Kamade calls Good Burn, who comes along and punches the basket into the ground, as the Gozyugers rush back over and fill the basket with every ball they've got, before the ref comes over and says the Gozyugers are disqualified for breaking the rules. No one team wins. So, as Kinjiro points out, the No.1's cheated first, as the bear gives them an invoice, giving Kinjiro heart palpitations. Back in No.1 world, Mrs. Sweetcake is saying the prince has taken up one weird name, before the Queen's doors opens, and Mr. Shining Knife offers their most sincere condolences. Queen Taegajun says it proves Bouquet had been right, and next time they need all of the rings, before the doors close again. She tells Bouquet to keep aiding the No.1s. The second event is the three-legged race, and competing for the Gozyugers is Rikuo and Hiro. Kamade says, you better do well, second gen. And Hiro says, you know, I'm really getting sick of you calling me that. You can call me #1, Hiro. As Kamade clicks his fingers, and a fully laid table appears, with plenty of gourmet French cuisine that he starts squeezing honey over. impressing both Ryuji and Samino, who ask Kamade how old he is. And he says he's 26. Or 10,026. Kinjiro says, are you old or younger than me? It turns out when Kamade won the Universe War, his wish came true and he saved the world. But he was caught on the edge of space-time, and he spent 10,000 years as a statue, till Good Burn saved him. And now he intends to change the world for the better. As the three pairs line up, and the three-legged race begins, with Herrero and Rikuo falling very quickly. As Kamade continues saying he will become a god, and he will dye the rings in his colours and absorb their powers, surpassing Taiga Sword, causing Ryuji to call him out on his heresy, with Taiga Sword being the one true god. As Kamade just says, keep an eye on your ring. Herrero and Rikuo are really struggling in the three-legged race, falling again and again. And when Rikuo asks Herrero why he's so motivated in this race, he says, I never had this because I grew up in the No.1 world. As Rikuo says, I think I sympathise. Follow my lead. As he takes his ring and puts it in his gauntlet. And the two engage. With Leon saying he can keep up with any rhythm, Wolf howls, and the pair race for the finish. Crossing the line first and saying, we're number one. And as they power down, the referee approaches and says the winner is Field Day No.1. And as the two Gozyugers say, engaging wasn't against the rules. It turns out your legs must be tied with a white strap. And the Gozyugers had a red strap. As Kamade says, the field day is fixed, which only makes this interesting. As a third event begins, the cavalry fight. As the Gozyugers question what they're supposed to do when everything's fixed, Kamade says leave it to him. As he transforms and heads over to the kid saying, I'm working with you. The kid tries to back away, but Kamade says it's time to change your world, kid. Before putting him on his back, and the kid says, well, if I have to. And we get the announcer and cheerleaders. As the ref rings his bell, the Gozyugers join him as they watch the battle. Goju Wolf keeps dodging around, avoiding the brigands and No.1, before he leaps. The kid's on his back, terrified, and he says, open your eyes. And the kid's filled with joy as he sees them flying over the others. And as they land, Polar says, life is way shorter than you think. So you've got to enjoy as much as you can. Don't you think? As the kid agrees with a smile. Before Polar shifts the kid on his back and says, let's do this. And as they race in, the kid manages to get one of the headbands. With the kid celebrating, and the brigands not being very happy. Setting the kid down, Polar says, I'll take it from here, now go and hide. Before heading off to the referee, as Herrero looks at the No.1 monster and says, you are my prey. Before the Gozyugers transform, and Polar jumps on Herrero's back. Supported by Leon and Tyranno, as Kinjiro says he has an idea, and using his new Kira Major ring, he becomes Kirame Red. And he uses Insparkleration, drawing two more Goju Eagles, who support him with Samino on his back. As she says, nice idea, Grankin, as they also charge into battle. With it now being an even fight of two teams against two teams, they both go at each other, all trying to get the headbands. With the match getting dirtier and dirtier. As first, the No.1 monster launches exploding mortars from his head, and Samino calls on her unicorn drill, and Goju Polar calls on his flying bear as they fire blasts at each other. Before Samino is able to take the headbands from the brigands, and Goju Polar is able to take the headbands from the No.1 monster. And as the No.1 monster is dropped to the ground, he says he's screwed up, But I'm still field day #1 because I have more points. As the ref says, actually, the one with the most points is Goju Polar. And the referee's decision is final, as he brandishes one shiny new gavel. As Goju Polar admits that he's bought the ref out. If the games were going to be fixed, he was going to fix them in his favour, calling it the Fixed Fight Fixer. And saying it's time to end it, he charges in, facing off a load of blasts from the No.1 monster before punching himself up into the air and using Finish Knuckle to blast the No.1 out of the kid that was possessing him. Calling the kid over, he hands one kid over to the other, telling him to look after him, and as the kids leave, the No.1 monster explodes. And as the area returns back to being part of the city, Bouquet arrives in her giant robot. The brigand runs off saying he's going to use the monster's soul, as Goju Polar calls for good burn. As the two giant mecha face off, the ref turns up in another mecha and says, right, it's time for an obstacle course, going between a bunch of buildings. And as the race begins, Good Burn manages to get an early lead, ducking and diving in between the buildings, until Bouquet manages to use some rocket boosters and leaps ahead of Kamade and Good Burn. But coming up is two doors. One leads to victory, and the other to a muddy pool. As Bouquet slows down, not liking the idea of a muddy pool. But as Good Burn punches his way through the door B, Bouquet leaps through door A, and she's the one landing in a muddy puddle. And as the ref declares Good Burn the winner, Bouquet leaves in a huff. As Good Burn transforms into a fist, and using its finishing move, Ego Iron Fist Blizzard Crusher, destroys the giant No.1 monster. And for the second week in a row, we get winner Kamade Mashiro. Back at the park, the two kids are talking, and it turns out the smaller kid was practicing for field day when it happened, but he doesn't like exercising either. So our kid says, let's practice together, as the flying bear comes over with a bill of 5 million yen for them. But as they run off, Kamade takes the bill and tears it up, saying a little pro bono work occasionally doesn't hurt, as the two kids start running on the track, with the Gozyugers watching on. Okay, so this was a fun episode. It wasn't too heavy. We got a little bit of backstory on Kamade. So, you know, he won. He saved the world. His wish was to save the world. But he got lost at the edge of space-time and became a statue for 10,000 years. So, what I'm wondering is, how is it 10,000 years? Because he doesn't seem to be a person displaced in time. He's like a person from the current day. But, you know, he says he's like either 26 or 10,026. So, I mean, I get that. I get that in the whole, you know, I could be this or I could be that. But it's the 10,000 I don't get. He doesn't seem to be from 10,000 years ago. But was he thrown back in time? Or was it 10,000 years in an area where time doesn't exist? You know, it's kind of... I can't even get the small one all the way down my finger. I just find that a little bit confusing. Like, I'm trying to make sense of it in my head, but it just doesn't. I do like the fact that Rikuo, you know, at first he's like, you know, if something happens to my beautiful face, what are you going to do? And Hiro's just like, oh, I'll just rub spit on it, can't make it any worse. But then, you know, Rikuo is fully supportive of Hiro when he's like, I grew up in No.1 world. I never got to have a field day. And then he's just like, okay, fine. Engage. and he can keep up with any rhythm. So, you know, they then do it, and he's able to do it with Herrero to help Herrero win this race. He never had it as a kid. I like, you know, that's part of this change that's happened since the last episode. And so, I think someone mentioned in one of my comments last week that, you know, this is why, like, one of these changes is the other Gozyugers are more team focused now. That's why they did the group finish last week. Because part of the change where they got their memories back is that they're now more team focused. So of course, he's more inclined to help Herrero. So when he hears that, I never got to do sports day as a kid, so field day as a kid, he's more inclined to help him. So he's been like, yeah, and you know, there was no sympathy, but now there is. So I'm wondering if that is part of the change. Which, thank you to people that commented on my last video. Really appreciate it. I love the engagement. I love being able to talk to people about this. Because I've got no one here that wants to... Misses and kids are not interested at all. Like they've already said, when I snuff it, all this stuff is up for sale. Nice to know that my daughter and my wife love me to bits. But they still want to know how much all this is worth. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like here we call it Sports Day. In the UK, I don't know what America calls it. So I mean, Sports Day is like a thing here. Like, you know, we have the egg and spoon race. We have the sack race. I mean, what is this? You have a sack. You jump to the finish. It's not in the Olympics. It doesn't do anything for the real world. How the hell did that become a thing? I don't get it. Not to mention egg and spoon. Why is that not an Olympic event? I mean, we have to practice it at school. Same as running, same as long jump. Why isn't egg and spoon in the Olympics? Why isn't the sack race in the Olympics? Answer me that. But yeah, this cavalry battle that they did with the 3 people holding the 4th one up, I have only ever seen that one other time. One. And that was in My Hero Academia. That was the first time I've ever... And now I've actually seen it live action. It looks fun. I mean, my fat ass wouldn't, like, you know, be any good at it at all. You know, I broke my back when I was, like, in my early 20s. So, yeah, there's no, late 20s. Mid-20s? Some point in my 20s. So, you know, I wouldn't be able to carry anyone. And I'm too light heavy for anyone to carry me. So, that's... I'll never get to do that one. But it looks like fun. I do like it. Never saw, like, that one where they're throwing the balls in the basket either. That's a new one. I mean, we used to have the beanbag toss, but there's never anything on a pole. But going back to the episode itself, so going on a tangent here. I mean, I like the games they did. I mean, 3-legged race seems to be universal, but never did the other two. But Kamade choosing French cuisine and then squirting so much honey over it, which I've never heard of anyone doing to French cuisine. Again, comments. Let me know if that actually is a thing. But it makes me wonder, is there a reason for him choosing French cuisine? You know, why didn't he choose some of the best sushi around? Or donburi bowls? Or wagyu? Or like a mountain of onigiri? He chose gourmet French cuisine. So I'm wondering if that's like going to be like a character thing later on. Also, I can never remember that kid's name, so I've just referred to him as the kid the whole way through. Which, as soon as there's 2 kids, you know, I mean, part of me just wants to be like 10 olds movie reviews. Be like, yeah, Kenny and Kenny, because everything has to have a Kenny. When it's a little kid, it's a Kenny. The annoying little kids. But yeah, so the French cuisine, the fact that he was imprisoned as a statue for 10,000 years, and did he experience anything or not? Because he was a statue. And also, what he says at the edge of space-time. But is that where the final battle was? Like the mecha graveyard and that? It's, you know, I'm interested in knowing like more about, and I think they're going to be drip feeding this to us over the next few weeks and that. Also, just want to say, the new intro sequence. They've left it very, after last week's, like, I'm guessing one-off Goju Polar, because it even had like a Goju Polar song. We had a whole new credit style, which, like I said, I absolutely loved. This week, it's back to normal. We've got winner number 1, but the visuals are mostly the same. We've got some new shots with Goju Polar in. So I've actually updated my intro for these videos. It has Goju Polar. So I've done that. I've updated something. Anything else? We've got Kiramage Ring. And I loved the fact, as soon as he whipped out that sketch pack, I was like, Insparkleration! Which was something that I feel that Kiramage Red didn't do often. He could have done so much more with that. I think it's more just the case of like the toy designers just like, no more, please, no more. We've got enough. We've got enough, please. No more toys, no more special things, please. God, if those writers had their own way, we'd have a new thing every episode. No! Yeah, I think the toy designers probably had put their foot down on that one. But, yeah, it was nice to see him. I actually had to look up. I didn't recognise Samino's ring, but I had to look it up. And it turns out she had Go-Onga, which is one of the series I haven't watched yet. Still trying to get through the end of Hurricane. And then I'm working my way through everything after that up to, I think, last one I watched was like Ninja or something. So I've got that little group in the middle. I've seen everything afterwards. I've seen everything before. Well, from Jetman up to most of the way through Hurricane. So, and then I'll start working my way backwards so I can see all the old stuff. And I got to say, as much as I loved Go Kaiju when I first watched it, having seen so much more stuff, and then watching bits of Go Kaiju again, I'm like, oh, I love those. It means so much more when you've seen more. But I will be covering that on my Go Kaiju video that is being worked on at the moment. So, yeah. Anyway, I need to start working on this because this video is going to be going up late. So, I will see you guys next week, where hopefully the video will come out a little bit earlier so I can still get it out on a Sunday. Because I'm looking at the time now and there's no way that's happening this time. So hopefully this will be coming out Monday. Anyway, till next time, guys. Stay number 1.